Endometriosis. This often painful disorder occurs when tissue, similar to the lining of the uterus called endometrium, grows outside of the uterus. Imagine your body waging a war against itself, and you're caught in the crossfire. This misplaced tissue can appear in various locations, most commonly on the ovaries, fallopian tubes, and the tissue lining your pelvis. These endometrial implants continue to behave as if they were inside the uterus. Unlike menstrual blood that sheds normally, the blood and tissue trapped by endometriosis have nowhere to go. This leads to inflammation, pain, scar tissue formation, and a host of other debilitating symptoms. One prevalent theory about endometriosis is retrograde menstruation. This is when menstrual blood flows backward through the fallopian tubes into the pelvic cavity. Many women experience some degree of retrograde menstruation without developing endometriosis. So, why do some women develop the condition while others don't? Differences in immune systems or the cellular environment of the pelvic cavity might make some women more susceptible. Retrograde menstruation doesn't fully explain why some women with no history of the condition suddenly develop it later in life. Another intriguing theory revolves around embryonic cell transformation. During fetal development, cells that eventually form the uterus may remain in the pelvic cavity. Later in life, these cells could transform into endometrial-like tissue, giving rise to endometriosis. Researchers are exploring whether environmental factors or hormonal changes could trigger this transformation. While the exact mechanisms remain unknown, the embryonic cell transformation theory provides a compelling perspective on the origins of endometriosis. It suggests that the seeds of the condition may be sown very early in life, only to manifest later under specific triggers. Our immune system defends the body against harmful invaders like bacteria and viruses. However, in endometriosis, the immune system may play a paradoxical role. Instead of eliminating the misplaced endometrial tissue, it may actually contribute to its growth and survival. The immune system might fail to recognize the endometrial tissue outside the uterus as foreign and therefore doesn't attack it. Alternatively, the inflammatory response triggered by the misplaced tissue could contribute to pain and scar tissue formation. Understanding these immune system intricacies could pave the way for new treatments that modulate the immune response and halt the progression of the disease. The hormone puzzle: estrogen's influence on endometriosis. Estrogen, a key hormone in the menstrual cycle, stimulates the growth of endometrial tissue, both inside and outside the uterus. This explains why endometriosis often worsens during the reproductive years when estrogen levels are higher. However, the relationship between estrogen and endometriosis is complex and not fully understood. Some women with high estrogen levels don't develop the condition, while others with normal levels do. Researchers are investigating how estrogen interacts with other hormones and signaling pathways involved in inflammation, cell growth, and tissue remodeling. This knowledge could lead to targeted therapies that manage estrogen's effects on endometriosis without disrupting hormonal balance. Genetic predisposition: unraveling the inherited links. Genetics plays a role in endometriosis. Women with a family history of the condition have a higher risk of developing it. Certain genes may increase susceptibility to the disease. These genes could influence immune system function, hormonal regulation, and the body's response to inflammation. However, inheriting these genes doesn't guarantee you'll develop endometriosis. Environmental factors, lifestyle choices, and other individual factors likely interact with your genetic makeup to determine whether or not you develop the condition. Surgical implantation and unintended consequence. Certain surgical procedures involving the uterus, such as cesarean sections, have been linked to an increased risk of developing endometriosis. This phenomenon, known as surgical implantation, occurs when endometrial cells are inadvertently transferred to other parts of the body during the procedure. During surgery, small fragments of endometrial tissue can attach to surgical instruments or gloves and then be transferred to other areas. These misplaced cells can then implant and grow, leading to endometriosis. Understanding the mechanisms behind surgical implantation can help refine surgical practices and minimize the risk for women undergoing these procedures. Environmental factors. Could toxins be playing a role? Emerging evidence suggests that environmental factors, particularly exposure to certain chemicals, might contribute to the development of endometriosis. Dioxins, a group of highly toxic chemicals, have garnered attention for their potential role in disrupting hormonal balance and altering immune function. Studies have linked exposure to dioxins with an increased risk of endometriosis, suggesting that these chemicals may interfere with the normal development and function of the reproductive system. Minimizing exposure to these potential toxins through lifestyle choices and advocating for stricter environmental regulations is prudent. The bacterial connection, a new frontier in endometriosis research. Recent research has opened up a new avenue of exploration, the potential role of bacteria in endometriosis. Some studies suggest that alterations in the bacterial communities residing in the vagina and uterus could contribute to the development and progression of endometriosis. These microbial imbalances, known as dysbiosis, could potentially trigger inflammation, alter immune responses, and influence the growth of endometrial tissue outside the uterus. This emerging field of research holds promise for developing new diagnostic tools and potentially novel treatment strategies that target specific bacterial communities to restore a healthy balance. Unraveling the mystery future treatments and hope for millions. Endometriosis remains an enigma in many ways. The complex interplay of various factors makes it a challenging condition to fully comprehend and treat effectively. However, scientists are gaining a deeper understanding of the intricate mechanisms underlying this debilitating disease. This knowledge is fueling the development of new and improved treatment options, ranging from targeted hormone therapies and immune-modulating drugs to minimally invasive surgical techniques. With continued research, increased awareness, and improved access to healthcare, we can strive to alleviate the suffering caused by endometriosis and empower women to take control of their reproductive health.